Hello viewers, my name is Chase Clover and this is my review on the December 17th, 2014 edition of the USW Wednesday Night Intensity number 101. A few things before we start this review. First off, I'm planning on doing my own USW award show type thing, where I will announce the winners of awards that I will choose, the topics or whatever, and I will announce those in a video, the winners of those awards. Second off, I'm planning on doing a few other videos, type different things, and Zach wanted me to talk, or to tell you, or say something about how he will be putting out a few videos, not on wrestling, but a few videos on this channel within this month, because it's nearing the end of 2014. I think right now we have 11 days until the end of 2014. Yes, it's December 20th, 2014. I know my vacation wasn't supposed to end, but I had to leave early just because, well, a few things went wrong, but it was a good vacation for the most part. It's just a few things went wrong and a few mix-ups happened, and so we decided to leave earlier than expected because we really did everything we wanted to do in a shorter amount of time than we expected. So we didn't really have anything left to do, so we just left. But I'll talk about my vacation later on in another video if I decide to. But there will be a few videos, non-wrestling videos, on this channel this month. I think Zach's going to put them out. We may have an end-of-the-year podcast. It's either going to be Zach or I doing the podcast. And I'm going to be doing my own awards ceremony. I think Zach may be able to do his own WWE ceremony, but he hasn't, I haven't really asked him about that yet. And he hasn't really known about that yet, about my choosing to do an awards ceremony. But I will talk to you about that in another video, and I think next week, next week, I believe on December 27th, I think, 2014, I will be putting out my preview and prediction video for USW Aftershock, and I'll be putting out my review video on December 29th. I pretty much finished my vacation. I finished school, so, well, I haven't finished school. It's just they're on vacation, which is why I left a week early. To go on vacation, that's why I left a week early. Yeah, just to look out for those videos on a later date. On a later date, because they will be coming out. And let's get into the video reviews. So this is the review on the 101st Intensity last. I'll be honest with you, there were a few parts that were good, like the past few weeks, but this is the third bad Intensity that we've had in a row, which I'm not used to, nobody's used to, and since I started watching Intensity when it first came on, because I was a fan of USW, when USW first got launched, and I started watching Intensity, I was hooked into it, and I've never seen 3 bad Intensities in a row. I think I've seen 2 bad Intensities in a row, but this is the third one in a row that hasn't been good, so I'm surprised at that. And I got home from vacation earlier this morning, and so since I couldn't watch the Intensity where I was on vacation, I had to watch it when I came home. So I came home at like 6 in the morning, and I watched it from 6:30 until 8:30 in the morning, and I wrote down what I wanted to talk about, and that's pretty much that. And I didn't think it was that great of an Intensity, and so I'm really hoping next week's will be better, because that's going to be the go-home show to Aftershock, which will be the last pay-per-view of the year, and then the final Intensity of the year will be on New Year's Eve, December 31st, and I'll be putting up a review of that, hopefully on January 1st, 2014. So just look forward to that. And it wasn't that great. There weren't that many spots on the card that were worth watching, but there were a few. And I'll get into them right now with my review. So first out, we start with Lone Wolf coming out, I guess randomly, and talking about how there are many more performers deserving of a world title shot than Yo-Yo Joe is. Seth comes out, and they get into some sort of an argument or a fight, and it's because Seth thinks he deserves to be in the world title picture, yet Lone Wolf thinks that he should be in the world title picture. And Kyle Reese comes out to stop it. He gets in the ring and he tells the two that they are both deserving of a world title shot. But the thing is that both of these performers don't have the world title shot yet. But he'll do them one better tonight. He will put them both in a tag team match, and he said that Seth, since you were able to pull off the upset over Capital, you will team up with Capital tonight to face Lone Wolf, and since Lone Wolf has faced this performer before, and Yo-Yo Joe is already booked, this performer doesn't have a match tonight, so I'll book you as his tag team partner. Lone Wolf will team up with Zach Hardy, so it'll be Hardy and Lone Wolf going up against Capital and Seth, and that's the main event. That's what's made. And we hop into our first match, which is George Martin defeating Lane with the DDT. Alex then comes out and tells George Martin that there is only enough room for Alex in USW. The match is made at Aftershock, which you expected to happen. It'll be George Martin versus Alex. And then we jump into a second match, and this will probably be a shorter review. It'll only be a little bit longer because I talked a bit in the beginning, but it's because there wasn't really much that happened on the show, So, and by the way, the opening scene was the only thing so far that was interesting enough to be mentioned. We jump into a second match, which is Prophecy and Dwayne Porter defeating Cannon and Dustin Raymond. Dustin Raymond then attacks Dwayne Porter with a pipe, so it looks like, for the most part, Switchblade and Blade have been deleted or eliminated from this conversation or this rivalry, so gladly enough we are back to Dustin Raymond versus Dwayne Porter, and I'm glad that that's the case because I've had enough of Switchblade and Blade with these two. Dwayne Porter and Dustin Raymond have been made to be in a rivalry, and ever since they came into this promotion, and so I'm glad that they're back into this rivalry. That was definitely a good spot on the card, and spot worth watching, especially considering Prophecy and Cannon were also intervened in there. Then we jump into our third match, which is Chris Ross with Philip Akron in his corner, defeating Simon Saint with James in his corner. James is then attacked by Chris Ross after the match with a chair after Philip Akron blindsides him, and Philip Akron and Chris Ross stand tall over Simon Saint and James this week, which hasn't happened for quite a number of weeks. And that's going to set up for, I think, maybe a Simon Saint and James versus Chris Ross and Philip Akron rematch at Aftershock. I don't know, something along those lines. We jump into the fourth match, which is Moshgeda and Western Light defeating TJ and Will Ball. After the match, CED and ED attempt to attack TJ and Will Ball, but Moshgeda and Western Light attack CED and ED. It's not too often you see Moshgeda and Western Light team up. You just see them, one in the other's corner when the other is facing a singles match. But I'm glad when the time comes that you see Moshgeda and Western Light in a match together as a team. And TJ and Wilbur. Something that is definitely needed to be said is that TJ and Wilbur, they have some sort of chemistry, but the one that is holding that team together is TJ. And the reason being is because he is great. He's very athletic. He's got a lot of... And, by the way, athleticism is one of his main attributes when it comes to wrestling. But TJ is athletic. He is able to pull off a lot of high-flying moves, and he's able to not disorientate, but confuse his opponents to the point where he's able to get the upper hand just by his moveset. So, TJ is definitely a name to be worth watching. When the promotion decides to put him into a singles run. Afterwards, Capital confronts Yo-Yo Joe backstage, talking about how Lone Wolf and Seth were correct, and that they deserve a world title match more than Yo-Yo Joe, but he's going to give him that one last shot at Aftershock, and if Yo-Yo Joe can't come through on his match, then he's going to be put out of the world title picture. It doesn't matter what Reese says, it's going to be his word over everyone else's. We jump to the fifth match, which is Yo-Yo Joe defeating Derek Carter after hitting the string effect. Afterwards, Hardy comes out and hits Hardy at faceplant on Carter after Derek Carter gets on the mic and disses the fans pretty much. Yeah, pretty much does the equivalent of dissing the fans. Hardy comes out to pretty much, I guess, put an end to that, and Hardy face plants Derek Carter into the mat, and then walks away with the title he has. Then we jump into the sixth match, which is Ash and Crimson Red defeating Anarchy and Titanfall. Afterwards, Crimson Red attacks Titanfall. I don't know if what they're trying to do with these two pictures, but we'll just have to find out later on. And the seventh match on the card, which is the main event, Hardy and Lone Wolf defeat Capital and Seth after Lone Wolf hits the Howl. I'm glad it was Lone Wolf that pinned Capital, because that kind of proved that he and Seth do deserve a world title picture, or a world title match. Afterwards, Carter comes out after Hardy's celebrating, and comes out to superkick Hardy, but Capital intervenes and hits the Capital Punishment on Carter to pretty much save Hardy's ass or whatever. And then the four help each other up out of respect, and that's how we end the show. The key parts that were worth watching on this intensity was Lone Wolf and Seth's opening scene, Prophecy Cannon, Dwayne Porter, Dustin Raymond, portion of the match, the match and the scene afterwards, Moshigata and Western Light and TJ and Wilbur, that match, Yo-Yo Joe, Derek Carter, and Hardy and Lone Wolf, Capital and Seth rivalry or match or whatever, and then what happened afterwards. So those were the parts worth watching. Definitely was interesting when it came to those parts, but every other part was bad. And I'm hoping that USW turns this around and is able to regroup from this, because this is not the direction you want to go in, because you're going to start losing fans soon enough. So, and, luckily they will be able to get overhead when it comes to TNA, because TNA is now going to Discovery America pretty soon, which is going to be, I think, a premium channel, if I'm not mistaken. So there are going to be less people watching TNA than there are right now, because TNA is on cable right now, so USW will be able to pick up that advantage when it comes to the fans, and their interest in USW. So, anyway, that was my review. Thank you for watching. That was my review on the December 17th, 2014 edition of USW Wednesday Night Intensity number 101. 2 weeks away till Aftershock. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe for more. I'm Chase Clover, signing off.